What is up, guys? It's the Sound Alchemist, and once again, I am joined here with
Gersh1.
And today we're back to answer more of your questions in another mysterious episode of For the Greater.
This is a video series where we answer the questions left by you, the viewer. If you have a question for us, comment down below. Put question in front of your question because we get to those questions first. And that is what Arok9 did. He says, has anyone in the Imperium tried to convert Xenos? I could see some ambitious upstart telling orc war stories about the Emperor. A war boss so badass even death doesn't stop him. This is how they converted a lot of barbarians back in the day to Christianity, by making the Big J, aka Jesus Christ, your Lord and Savior. I'm actually taking Bible study, by the way. A supernatural warlord. Yeah, so we're Hispanic, and so we believe in the Virgen de Guadalupe, and then probably like 5 years ago, I learned that the Virgen de Guadalupe is just basically a, what is it called? Like rehashed indigenous goddess. So the Catholic Church needed to fold over all of these indigenous people into believing in Christianity, so I'm not going to say they made up the whole story of the Virgen de Guadalupe, but somehow the Virgen de Guadalupe became like this new goddess to these indigenous people. So I get what you're saying. And the answer is a little complicated because the Imperium does not like Xenos. So I guess we have to talk about why they don't like Xenos.
Yeah, xenophobia is rampant throughout the Imperium for many reasons, and it's not just xenophobia, but if you don't look human, they're gonna like kick you out.
Yeah.
Because there are mutants within the human genome that they're still human, but then they get cast aside, such as ratlings,
Ogren,
Beastmen, yeah. The list goes on and on. And even like astropaths and like psychers and stuff like that, they're also ostracized by humanity.
Yeah, the interesting part about it is, like, if you read the Great Crusade stories about abhumans, there was a lot. There was over 100 different species of abhumans, because naturally humanity adapted to their environments and they changed biologically. In order to be considered an abhuman, I think you still can breed other abhumans. So you're not like the liger, where I think the liger can't have
other ligers.
Right. Yeah. But like, what ended up happening is that there's a specific branch of the Adeptus Administratum that completely just said, like, no, this abhuman strain needs to be destroyed because they're too different from humanity stock. And that is where you find the xenophobia of abhumans. It is an organization within the Adeptus Administratum that wants to keep the human race pure, and any deviation from that is destroyed. To the point where, like, there are some planets that naturally evolve to a different state because whatever environmental change happens on the human body, and then the Imperium comes in, exterminatus on the planet, not necessarily like virus bombs and stuff like that, because they still need the resource that the planet is providing. But then they bring colonists from a non-abhuman world, and then they colonize.
That, yeah.
And it's a vicious cycle, because even those colonists, their children's, yeah. So yeah. And
it's not just like the natural flora and fauna of the world. Sometimes it could be a warp storm that causes like mutations.
Right. Yeah. And then I think the true xenophobia comes from the fact that none of the races that the Great Crusade encountered were friendly.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah, very few were friendly, and most of them wanted control, which is natural. That's what you see in real life.
You see orcs taking miners and using them for their own goods.
You see that in real life all the time. Yeah, especially right now where it's snowing.
Yeah.
You just see them with shovels. Wait, the miners or the orcs?
Yes.
But yeah. I'm trying to think. Was there a story of a friendly Xeno race? I don't think so, right?
No. I mean, the only friendly like Xeno races that I can think of are those within like the Tau Empire, like the Nikasar, the Vespid, the Kroot, and even then they're not like friendly per se. Like there were still wars and like battles fought between the Tau and them before they joined together. And also the whole like mind control or pheromone control, if that's a thing. So
It's also speed too. Once you think about it, because like now I'm starting to think like, why didn't the Emperor just do that when he was expanding his humanity's empire, like the Imperium? Why didn't he just go to the Vespids, which were probably around back then, and just say like, hey, just become part of our empire? But I think it's the speed. It's easier to destroy that race outright and then just repopulate than to try to like help them out. Which goes back to the whole abhuman thing, where it's like it's easier to kill off an entire planet's population and then repopulate it than to actually try to get these abhumans to
work together.
Yeah, with the Imperium and all that kind of stuff. So it's a grim, dark future
where there is only war. No peace treaties.
Next question.
This one is by Nico Tugas. Which Imperium faction will GW update with a new codex next? Based on the upcoming box sets, I believe it's the Sisters of Battle.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, we just got the Blood Angels, the Death Guard, and then the most recently released, the Dark Angels. There are rumors that the Drukhari are going to be next. And I don't know. Because no matter what, they're going to put out some type of Imperial faction.
I hope that they do the Sisters of Battle, just because I want single like boxes. Because right now you can't buy Sisters of Battle unless you go on to eBay and buy like the big box, the starter set, which is probably really expensive right now.
And it would make sense for the Sisters of Battle to come out because they got that like war suit thing that's going to be coming out soon. So it's like, get the codex and this thing too.
Unless we get an FAQ.
Well, we kind of already did. We got an FAQ like a month ago.
Yeah, with the point values.
I don't think they want to drop that many FAQs like back to back to back. Which kind of sucks if you literally just bought the Blood Angel codex, because then the points in there already got changed in the FAQ. Woe is me.
Tell that to an orc player.
Here's your new orc codex. Oh, by the way, new edition.
And it's not even in Orctober. I'm going to hold that grudge for the rest of my life.
Speaking of orcs, Urza Swan says, what happens to orcs if they somehow land in an isolated place, far away from any conflicts?
They fight themselves.
They spore, and then they make more things to fight.
Yep. Next question comes from Xavier Craft. What were Methedic Blight haulers originally used for? What are those? Do you know what they are?
They're like those crab things for the Death Guard. Because the only thing I know is that they've got like steam rollers and stuff like that to basically squish everything, and then they like push out pollution and stuff. Or not pollution, but like rot and toxins and that kind of thing.
So maybe like if it's an Imperial thing, maybe it was just like the reverse. So instead of pushing out pollution, they actually recycled whatever it was that they were consuming.
It might have been like a terraforming type thing.
Yeah.
Quien sabe? Or it could just be a new demon engine thing that they crafted.
Yeah. Next question comes from Bruce Zhao. When will you guys visit New Zealand? New Zealand is right next to Australia, right? Like it's like a little offshoot island, kind of like Madagascar to Africa. I don't know. That's a really long trip.
I think we have to go to Old Zealand first before we get to New Zealand.
Yeah, where is Old Zealand? Let's talk about that.
And then we got to go from, like before Old Zealand, we got to go through A Zealand, B Zealand, C Zealand.
So, who knows? What's on your bucket list in terms of places you want to visit?
Definitely the North and South Poles.
Which one first?
The equator.
Nice.
And then the Prime Meridian.
Wait, what's the Prime Meridian?
So the equator goes this way, right?
Yeah.
Prime Meridian goes this way.
Oh, okay. And we're not on that? But that's arbitrary.
Is it?
It is. It's a circle.
Yeah.
What's an oval?
I want to travel the entire circle oval.
Wait, so where does the Prime Meridian cut through?
That's a good question.
This house. It's on a slab.
That's why.
Next question.
The slab. This one is by Odin, God of Wisdan. Question. Custom Chaos Norse Warband. Warlords of Yggdrasil. System. 9 worlds, including Alfheim, which is a Dark Eldar webway. They have a tenuous alliance for co-op raids on the Imperium. Sounds far-fetched, but is it workable within the lore? Space Wolves of Fenris prophesized to grow and swallow the system as they follow the deceiver Loki, their perception of the hatred Space Wolves.
Oh, that sounds like you could do that. 100%. Like, if the Imperium has worked with the Tau Empire in secret to, like, build up, whatever Sept world that may be, I don't see how Chaos can't do the same.
Right. Pretty much any concept can be warped into making sense in the 40K lore.
Yeah. Especially right now in the tumultuous times of the Cicatrice Maledictum. What is it called? There's another term for it. Of like the Empire. I think it's like the Second Empire. Or whatever it is. But yeah, you can do it. I thought I read something on like the name of this era. Is it the Indomitus era? No, I don't know. The next question comes from Castellan Crow. What is the definition of insanity? Trying to figure out what this time that we're in is called.
Isn't insanity like doing the same thing over and over again but expecting different results?
I thought that was stupid.
It could be. Crazy insane or insane crazy? When I say, you say.
Comment down below. Where is that from?
Marshall Mathers, a.k.a. Eminem. This next question is by Promised. Do machine spirits fuel any type of chaos gods? Asking for a friend.
You could argue that it's just, the machine spirit. Ooh,
the Omnissiah.
But is it the actual machine spirit that's fueling that, or is it the worship of the machine spirit?
That's true.
Because if it's the worship of the machine spirit, then yes, it's the Omnissiah, a.k.a. Well, like if it's chaotic, it's like the Dark Mechanicus.
Yeah.
But the actual machine spirit, the AI, I would say that it's just like the Tau.
Probably. But still, if enough people believe it, doesn't it become a thing in the warp?
Well, yeah, but like, so if enough AI believe it, does it become a thing in the warp?
But AIs don't have souls to like.
So it's the same thing with the Tau. Like if the Tau believe it, does it become a thing?
Because they still register in the warp. It's just tiny.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So no. Or maybe. But
Perhaps.
very, very, very tiny.
Yeah. Bien chiquitín.
Next question.
Michael Grillo. That means cricket. Without Imperium oversight, how many Space Marine chapters would grow to Legion size? And how long would that take? So not every Space Marine chapter will just keep growing exponentially if they don't fight in wars, if they don't talk to the Imperium. Because a lot of them are still going to be Codex compliant. They're still going to follow the rules of the Codex regardless if they have the excess material needed to expand.
Because even the ones that don't, like the Black Templars and the Space Wolves, haven't gone to
Right.
Legion size.
And it's crazy because Legions used to be like 100,000 Space Marines in those crazy numbers. But now it's 1,000 Marines per chapter. For the Codex compliant ones at least. So they literally need to multiply an insurmountable amount of time, and that's just not plausible because of all the wars they fight, of all the chaos stuff that they could be experiencing, and just the amount of manpower and resources needed to keep that war engine going. I don't think they can do.
The only time that it has happened is during the Bad App Wars, but that was just Huron Blackheart absorbing other chapters.
Right.
Yeah. So. Good question, though.
Thank you, Michael Grillo.
Next question.
Noodle soup.
Okay.
How strong is Space Marine armor? How would you describe
Like
it?
a Nokia phone?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah.
Because it's not like stormtrooper armor where it's like, why even wear it? Anything can like take them out.
Yeah.
No, this is like reflecting explosions. Lasers can barely pierce it. Like it's really strong, really durable.
The way I've seen it explained in the lore is that it can sustain standard weapon fire, but it cannot sustain heavy weapon fire. So your meltas, your plasmas, those will go through the armor. You have to have thicker armor, which is Terminator armor, or like, what's the
Artificer armor,
Yeah.
mastercrafted.
Yeah. But yeah, basic level armor is that strong. Probably like regular weapon fire.
And it's like really heavy too. And you also need to have the the black carapace in order to have a sturdy armor on.
Yep.
So in other words, está chingón.
Yeah. This next question comes from the Damned Legion. What are the Black Shields? Are they in the Death Watch? So the Black Shields were basically just a conglomeration of all of the Space Marines that were legionless during the or right after the Horus Heresy, after the Drop Site Massacre, and these were people that cast aside their own allegiance to their traitor legions, and then they just fought for the Imperium. Are they in the Death Watch right now? No, probably not. It's too late now.
They had their chance.
They're dead now.
The Outsider. What's the relationship between the Space Marines and the Sisters of Battle? Is there any discrimination between them? Their relationship is that of like... It's like when you know somebody likes you, but you're still playing hard to get.
Yeah, basically think of the Sisters of Battle getting stuck in a dryer or behind like a sink.
I knew it was going there.
And then the Space Marines are the brothers who are just like trying to help them out.
And you can see that in the 9th edition trailer when they're fighting the Necrons.
Yes.
Where it's like, oh no, my arm's getting de-atomized by a Necron phase weapon.
Stepbrother, help me.
It's like, oh, it was not the stepbrother. It's Dad. Daddy Emperor was like, here. Oh, I got my arm back. And then the
Space Marines came in.
stepbrother comes in.
Yeah. Even though I still think that trailer was the... whatever that's called. What is it called?
Zaddy?
No. There is a specific like relic that the Sisters of Battle carry that protects them. It's basically a force field. It's the same thing that
The Rosarius.
The Rosarius, yeah. Goj Vandire used the same thing to trick the Sisters of Battle into believing that he was their Zaddy. Which is why they became the brides of the Emperor.
Oh, I thought they were called the bratty sis of the Emperor.
Kind of the same thing, yeah. But yeah, their relationship is just, they're just another military force. So they are to be utilized with the understanding that they are more leaning towards the Imperial Church, as opposed to like the Imperial Guard, which are just there to defend.
See what?
Next question.
Milo no Stepi. Like with the creation of Slaanesh, being from the collection and masses of death of people, could the fall of the Emperor create an implosion of sorts, consuming the Astronomicon and all within, perhaps allowing the Emperor to be reborn instantly as a Chaos God? Yeah, basically that's what a lot of theories predict will happen when the Emperor fully dies. Either he's going to become a Chaos God, or his death would allow the Astronomicon to extinguish demons, and chaos will take advantage of that. But in doing so, his body would be able to essentially reform and like resuscitate itself so that he comes back as like in his prime. But now he's got the whole mess of like chaos to deal with.
Yeah, because there was a warp open.
A warp gate right on Terra. Yeah. And without the Astronomicon, people can't travel through the warp. So things are going to be pretty bad.
Yeah. I don't think GW would do something like that, but yeah.
You don't think so?
No.
I think that's how they... Like, if they want something big and crazy to happen, like, what better than to have the holy city in the holy world of Terra become besieged? But then you have the hope of the Emperor in his prime coming back.
Damn, you just convinced me. Yeah, I could see that. The terrain would be really badass.
Mm-hmm.
I would like just ruined buildings everywhere, but
Yeah.
like holy temples being ruined,
Right.
which is what the emperor wanted because he cast the last stone on top of the last church. Or something
Dang,
like
that
that metaphor, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say that the church Bible studies are
Oh,
really, really.
no, that's just reading the or the Space Marine Codex.
Ah,
Yeah,
maybe that's what you think you're going to Bible study, but it's actually just Warhammer.
yeah. So let's get into because last week we asked you guys, what is the weirdest name that you have come across? So we can name off some of the weird names. I have one from Corvus Terindar. He says, I knew a girl in church whose parents named her Crystal Sandalier. That's not that crazy.
I know a lot of crystals.
Yeah, my dog was named Crystal.
Radius says weirdest names: Aura, Alora, and Bjorn.
Bjorn?
There's Bjorn the Fellhand. That dude's not. That's not a weird name.
Yeah, but for a girl, I wouldn't think a girl would. Or is this just in general?
He just says weirdest names.
Oh, okay.
Alora and Aura, he said, were girls.
Oh, okay, and Bjorn. They're not weird names then, no. Undefined says the weirdest name belonging to a real person that I met was Cack.
Like, the parents have to know, like, with a last name like Cack. Oh, let's name him Cock.
It could just be like one of those things that came from a different country because we met a dude named Tao.
Mm-hmm.
Like
It's
the Tao
not
Empire.
spelled like Tao, but it's pronounced exactly like Tao.
Yeah. Were we pronouncing it right? Did we ever ask?
I don't know. I think that's how he says it.
Oh, okay.
Metaleo says, my brother is called Nicandro.
That's cool.
Mm-hmm.
That sounds cool.
Oh, this guy says he knew a dude named Blade, and his last name was Kiss. Blade Kiss?
Sometimes you have to be careful because, like, I feel like you guys are gonna pull a Bart Simpson thing where, like, I'm gonna say something and later on I'm gonna be like, oh fuck, I said something inappropriate.
Eric Romero, Cinnamon Bear Cloud.
Cinnamon for sure. I could see because growing up there were some girls that were named interesting things like Precious.
Crystal.
I've never liked Bella.
Bella?
Because it just means beautiful in Italian, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so it's just like Bella is just like your parents were not unique. But those were the names for today. If you guys have more names that are really weird that somebody has named a kid and you came across them, let us know in the comment section below.
Yeah, and keep those questions coming, guys. As always, it's the Sound Alchemist.
First one.
And we are afuera! Dun, 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 dun.
Always used to put my freedom first in any situation.